everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of a brand new series, Women's Wrestling Wrap-Up. Once a month, at the start of every month, I'm going to be joined by the amazing Nadia Sapphire, and we're going to shine a spotlight on women's wrestling all across the world, all across all the main promotions, really shine a light on the amazing women of wrestling who deserve to be talked about, but maybe don't get talked about as much, especially in the last couple of years of things have started to die off a little bit with the women's evolution and things like that. So we want to revitalize that a bit, give them a bit of a focus, and just talk about the amazing things that women are doing in the world of wrestling. By all means, first thing I need to do is to introduce my amazing co-host. I'm incredibly blessed to have the amazing Nadia Sapphire agree to do this with me once a month. Nadia, please introduce yourself, let everybody know if they don't already know who you are, what you're up to, where you've been wrestling, all that kind of stuff.
Hiya, so I'm Nadia, go by the name Nadia Sapphire to wrestle. So I'm from Cardiff, Wales. I started wrestling training at 14. I just turned 30, so really old now. Took a 4-year break when I was 18, come back at 22. So I've been back for about 8 years. Within that time, I've wrestled all over the UK. I've had WWE tryouts. I've had the first women's match in Israel. I've wrestled in Austria, and yeah, now I'm just at home chilling. We've come out of lockdown, so wrestling crowds, October time's looking really busy for me, and so is November. Fingers crossed we don't go back into another lockdown. And yeah, that's me. So I've got a bit more spare time to do a podcast. I always have people obviously message me about podcasts, but this is the one which I picked. And yeah, I want to be with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, you were like my second ever guest. It was back in like late October, November last year, I think it was. And you came on and we had a good chat. Pretty similar to this. We just talked about women's wrestling for a while, didn't we? And it was brilliant. So when I decided I wanted to do something like this, you were literally the first and only person that I got in touch with, because I knew at least, you know, we'd have a laugh as well. I think that's what already people are gonna notice from you, isn't it? That you just want to just talk shit and just have a laugh.
You got to have a banter, haven't you? Like, you got to make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you've been wrestling recently, haven't you? I've seen that you've been booked for a few shows.
Yeah. So I've got quite a lot coming up in October. I was meant to go to Austria like a month or two ago, but it was still in amber, I think. So I didn't go. I'm meant to be going back to Austria in November, but who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, I've done like a little bit of UK stuff. It's not like before lockdown, I was literally wrestling like every weekend. Like I at least had 2 to 3 shows a week before lockdown. I say before lockdown, end of 2019, because then I got injured again. But yeah, like now it's just sort of like chilled. It's like a show every few weeks. So I've just been partying a lot, to be honest. Like the clubs are open. I went out for my birthday, went out Thursday, Friday, the Saturday. Last weekend I went out Saturday and Sunday. This weekend I'm going out Saturday. So it's actually really nice, because in October I got shows every weekend again, and November. So I'm like just getting all the partying in at the moment.
Get it out of the way. Get out of the way early.
I'm actually sick of alcohol. I'm actually sick of cocktails.
Have you missed wrestling? I'm guessing you've missed wrestling over this time.
Yeah and no. I've not missed the drama. I've not missed the horrible people. I've not missed the toxic parts. Even now, I'll go on Twitter and I'll just see people bitching, people kicking off about promotions, people kicking off about people. And it makes me feel so negative and think, why would you even want to be involved in this? Like, people are horrible. Like, why do I want to be involved? But then at the same time, when I'm actually there and I'm in front of a crowd and I'm doing a show, it's like, oh yeah, this is nice. Like, I'm enjoying this. And I've noticed now as well, like, I actually prefer doing like a smaller family show where you've got nice people backstage and people who've not got egos, and maybe people who are just starting out wrestling or just casually wrestle, because they all seem to just be a lot more chilled. I find that like when you go to like, you know, like all the shows that are on social media and stuff like that, like not all of them, but some of them can be quite like toxic and bitchy, and then you've got people being jealous of people because someone's got someone's spot or someone's booked and they're not booked, and does that make sense?
Yeah. It takes away the fun of it, doesn't it? It takes away what you enjoy about wrestling when you're having to navigate all that kind of shit as well.
Yeah, I'm old now. I just want to have fun.
What have you been watching recently? Have you been able to catch up on wrestling?
Yeah, so I've actually watched a little bit more than what I usually watch. So you know what? This actually podcast is so good for me because I don't have the time to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW, like the whole shows throughout the week. So I'm the type of person, I fast forward through the boys stuff. I'm so sorry, boys. And I go straight to the girls stuff because I'm like, right, I want to see what's current. I want to see what the girls are doing, and even the girls stuff, like, usually I've got like 2 matches on Raw or like 2 matches on SmackDown, or at least like 1 match in 1 segment. So it's about an hour of girl stuff on each program anyway. So when you put all these shows together, it's about 4 or 5 hours of wrestling. No, 3 or 4 hours of wrestling to watch a week anyway, with just the girl stuff. Does that make sense? If you added the boys stuff, it'd be even more hours of wrestling to watch. So, oh my God, I was so happy to see Becky Lynch come back. Like, I know there was a lot of controversy. So many people were a bit like, oh, like, she literally just smacked Bianca, give her, I was going to say rock bottom. What does she call it?
Oh, the manhandle slam, I think it was.
Manhandle slam. I was going to say the man bottom. But yeah, so she gave her that, and I get that that's that. But maybe Becky's just obviously not ready. I think she got called in early because of the CM Punk's situation with AEW. So Becky's back, but I love Becky. It's like, when her music comes on, all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, let's get up. Like, let's do some bloody cardio. Like, when I'm in the gym, I'll be on the treadmill. I'll walk. I don't run, by the way. I'll walk, or I'll be on the cross trainer. And I'll always watch, like, I'll go back to like a match with which has like the 4 horsewomen in there. It's like Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. And I'll always go to matches that include them. And honestly, like when their entrance music is on, it's like they've got like their entrance. That's when I always walk faster. So it's like Becky Lynch's entrance music's on. I'm like, yeah, I'll turn this treadmill up. I'll walk fast. I'll put my incline on, because like the music is just such a like, boom. Does that make sense? I'm so crap with words. I know what I'm saying, or I know what I'm thinking, but my words just don't come out properly. But yeah, so when Becky came out, it was just like, yes, like I feel like Raw and SmackDown have been so boring. Like, it's just like, the girls are amazing. They look amazing. They're amazing wrestlers, but I just feel like it's like the same matches. Like, I think like 2 weeks in a row, you had like Natalya and Tamina versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax like a few months back, or it was even 3 weeks in a row. It's like the same matches every week. Or like Nikki Cross a few weeks back versus Rhea. Then I think, did she have another match? I can't even remember. But like sometimes you switch on, it's like the same matches because there's not enough girls to sort of like maneuver around and mix it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so I'm like, yeah, Becky's back. I can't wait for Bayley to be back. I want Sasha to be back. I want Charlotte. I want the 4 horsewomen all there together, and I want them to feud, because that was my favorite time in wrestling, like of like the last 10 years. Like, that's my favorite time.
Yeah, and like it obviously doesn't help that WWE have put themselves into a corner. The reason that there's no women is because they keep releasing all of the women.
Yeah.
Releasing like your Ruby Riots and your Iconics and women like that. And it just, and then, as you say, we get months and months and months of the same matches. Nikki Cross versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley at the minute has literally been going on for about 2 months.
Yeah.
And then they'll throw somebody else in there and make a tag match. They're just running out of ideas. And like you said, someone like Bayley getting injured. Bayley's injury was a massive, massive blow. And I think that as well as the CM Punk stuff has led to them bringing back Becky sooner. I think if Bayley was still healthy, they'd have probably pursued that for a little bit longer and then brought Sasha back and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what's going on with Sasha. She's not been seen for a few months now.
Yeah, she's like, Sasha comes and goes, don't you? She'll be gone a month, then she'll come back. It's like, is Sasha injured? Is Sasha like just sort of taking a break? Or are they just keeping Sasha behind? Like, what's happening with Sasha?
What did you think of Becky? Obviously, I know obviously she came back. It was an amazing moment. The energy in the arena was amazing, and obviously she beat Bianca instantly in like 26 seconds or something like that. But it could have been non-title. What did you make of her winning the title immediately?
I think they had to have her win the title because it's Becky Lynch. She literally was like, at one point before she got pregnant, she was probably like the most over person out of men and women.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
you know what I mean? So she was like the most over person. Wasn't she like before, like she was in there with The Rock, wasn't she? Or Austin, I can't remember, like back before she was pregnant, like she done like a segment with them. Like one
Yeah,
of them,
yeah,
I can't remember who. No,
yeah,
it was
with The
probably
Rock, and John Cena as well. She did segments with
yeah. Oh
Cena.
yeah, John Cena. That's what I mean. It's like she's like such an over person. And for you know, she might have not bothered coming back unless it could have been for something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think her winning the title, like if she came back and didn't win the title, she'd be like, oh, she'd be Bianca Belair, like, and it'd be forgotten about. If you win the
yeah,
title, sort of remembered, she's now champion, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And it's getting people talking. Like on the flip side of it, what do you make of Bianca? Because as far as I'm concerned, Bianca's been a brilliant champion. She was champion for like 4 months since
Yeah,
WrestleMania. That huge match against Sasha, that iconic two black women in the main event of a WrestleMania, incredible match for the ages. 4 months, amazing champion, beat everybody that's been put in front of her. Becky comes
so
back, boom,
talented.
we're taking your title away from you. How do you feel for Bianca? Because I
She's
feel
so
terrible.
she's so talented. Like fair
Yeah,
play to her for being like, you know what, I'm gonna have like a 26-second squash match or whatever. Um, but like that's the thing, like like in Bianca's face, like I feel like Bianca's facials tell a story. Like when Becky came down, Bianca's face automatically looked starstruck. When it was her and Sasha, she automatically looks starstruck in like wow, like her facials are so good. It's like you can see that emotion in her face. Where in a way, I feel like Bianca personally is probably like not too bothered. Does that make sense? Like that's what I get from her facials, where it's like, you know what, I'm here to do a job. Like, I've been champion for 4 months. I've impressed people. Like, if you remember, like when Bianca and Bailey were feuding before Bianca was champion, and they were doing like the circuit stuff, and Bianca could just like overpress someone over her head and stuff like that. Like she's so powerful. Like we've all seen how much of a great athlete she is. Maybe she was just like, you know what, like I'll do it because it's Becky job, and I'm going to get a really good feud now. And even though it wasn't a great way, it's got more people talking about, like more people on Twitter, like people who might have not been watching wrestling for the last year have might have started watching it now because Becky has now come back. So now, therefore, when Bianca does have a rematch, it's more eyes on Bianca. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, completely. I mean, you can tell that they've still got plans for Bianca because as soon as she's lost the title, the next week on SmackDown, she's already the number one contender who won that
Sure.
four-way elimination match. So they've straight away put her right back in there. It's a shame she had to lose the title in the first
Yeah.
place. I think I would have maybe had her lose it in a couple of months after
Yeah.
feuding with Becky for a little while. I think it's just because it was the
It would have
shock.
meant something.
Yeah, it would have meant something. She'd have got a bit of a longer run out of it. It could have been another big pay-per-view Survivor Series, maybe. I just think, I don't know, I just feel bad for Bianca because we see
Yeah.
WWE make these last-minute decisions so often. It doesn't feel like they're
Yeah.
really thought through. So I think you just worry maybe there isn't a plan, and you worry
It's
what it's
like
going to mean for Bianca.
sometimes there's like a bit of desperation there. Like I think like WWE desperate, like we probably can't get The Rock or anyone now. Right, we need to bring Becky back type of thing. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why Sasha wasn't there, because obviously SmackDown before that was leading up to that match with Sasha and Bianca. Maybe they, I don't know, like it's sort of like, did they tell Sasha to just stay home for a month and stay out of it or what? Which is a bit shit for Sasha too, if they, you know what I mean, if they did say,
Yeah.
like Becky's coming in instead of you. So I don't know, because I think that Sasha and Bianca could have had an amazing match, and Becky could have come out and made a return, maybe like, I don't know, even like made the match like disqualified, you know what I mean? Like, and then set up for something else, so Bianca would have still kept the title, but then they would have all been feuding. I personally, though, moving forward, would love to see Bianca now feud with Becky, but then I'd like to see Bianca lose to Becky, go over to Raw, feud with Charlotte, and get the Raw Women's Championship. That's what I'd like to see for Bianca.
It'd be a cool little call back to their past as well, wouldn't it? Because obviously they had those interactions in NXT.
Bianca versus Charlotte would just be amazing. Could you imagine that match?
Throw Rhea in there as well.
You are?
I'd throw Rhea Ripley in there as well, because we know her. Well, that's already been a match, hasn't it? Rhea versus Bianca versus Charlotte. We saw it like last, not WrestleMania this year, the WrestleMania before, on the lead up. All got amazing chemistry.
I feel like I'd like to put Rhea in SmackDown though to mix it up, or put Shayna in SmackDown, just because they're doing the same old shit on Raw at the moment. Shayna Baszler is always tagging, and it's always like, it's boring. Sorry, it's boring. I want it to be mixed up. And you know what? We were saying about the releases, you know, if the Iconics, that'd be so like they should have never for the tag, especially because like the tag team wins division, having the Iconics there, even doing promos and stuff like that would have added to it. Having Ruby Riott with Liv would have been amazing. You know what I mean? And Mickie James, like, oh my god, why would you get rid of Mickie James?
I know.
Like, Mickey's like amazing. Like, Mickie can work anyone. She can work heel or face. Mickey's happy to help anyone in the ring. Mickey's happy to literally make someone else look amazing. Like, Mickie, oh my god, like, why would you do that?
Yeah, why not at least keep her backstage in like a producer or choreographer role? You know?
She gets it, doesn't she? Like, you know, she knows what it's like. She's been there for years. Yeah, 100%. I'd want to keep Mickie on. Speaking of releases and speaking of new people, Eva Marie's back. You know what? I feel like it's so nasty, and like people like to say things about her on Twitter. I feel like she might not be the best wrestler, but she brings another fan base into wrestling. You know, like how like the Bellas, people would slag them off, but I know so many girls who know about wrestling because they watch Total Divas and because they've seen the Bellas. And all my friends are like, oh, the Bellas this, the Bellas that. Oh yeah, they're wrestlers, and that's the only thing they know about wrestling. So it, like, you know, it brought wrestling to a more like you usually have like a specific person who likes wrestling, but I feel like having people like the Bellas and even Marie opens up more doors for the more like, you know, like girly girl to get into wrestling, not just the tomboy girl, you know what I mean? Or that girl that's into lip fillers, they're going to start watching it because Eva Marie's on there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the thing with Eva Marie is she knows she's not a great wrestler. She's not there to be a great wrestler. She's there to be a character. She's there to be a manager. Yeah, she's got instant. The second that they started doing those vignettes, the evolution stuff, people hated her straight away without her even being on screen. And that's what WWE wanted from her, and she's doing a great job of it.
And that's the thing, she's got people talking about her, because even if people are slagging her off on Twitter, people are still talking, and then people are seeing them tweets and then going to WWE and seeing what's happening, or they're seeing like a WWE like 3-minute YouTube video of Eva. WWE getting more views on YouTube, which means they're obviously making more money. So people are tuning in to see, oh, what's happening, why people bitching, because people love drama. And even if we give you drama.
I'm glad you mentioned YouTube, because that's the thing, like her videos have got millions of views. If people weren't interested in her, they wouldn't be watching those videos. And it could be, like you said, it could be girls that want to see Eva Marie. She's obviously a beautiful woman. Girls might want to see beautiful women on the TV, but also the men. The men, as much as men want to bitch and moan on Twitter and say she's shit at wrestling, blah, 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 they want to watch her because they fancy her.
Exactly.
You know?
And you know what? People might not agree with this because of women's evolution, but I'm sorry, sex sells is always sold. Like, yeah, the women are great wrestlers. You may look at them now and think, oh my God, they're great wrestlers, but you're still going to get people who are tuning in because they fancy them. That's always going to happen. That's never going to be out of someone, like, that's never going to be out of a man's head. Like, if a girl's fit, she's fit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm probably not wording it properly. Probably get heat for saying that.
No, you are. I agree. Like,
but it does. So like Eva Marie is like, you know, like Trish Stratus back in the day. Trish was absolutely beautiful. Think about how many magazine covers she would have been on, how much money she would have made for WWE out of the actual ring. But then Trish got good and became an amazing wrestler and had amazing matches too. I 100% believe a woman can have sex appeal but be an amazing wrestler. I don't think it should be one or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Trish is one of those names who always comes up that these women say they look up to. She inspired them. Her and Lita are two of the names you always hear. They inspired them to get into wrestling, like you said with the Bellas. Yeah,
100%. Like Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, they're hot, and it's like sort of like, you know, you have like Nikki's character who sort of like, you know, was a bit more curvy, loves herself, like, you know, absolutely beautiful, loves her fashion. Then you had Brie, who was a bit more like hippie-ish and chilled. So sort of like you had a female character for each aspiring female, if that makes sense. Well, that's what I feel like you had with Total Divas, because like when you had Paige in there, Paige was like, you know, different to all the other girls as well. The Paige was still absolutely like gorgeous, you know. But like, I think you know what I just want to say as well, I love the fact that Doudrop is killing it on Raw. She is such a lovely girl. Like, she's an amazing person. And it's like, you wouldn't expect her to be in with Eva. But like, I watched Raw from last week and she squashed Eva. And I was like, yeah, you're killing it. Like, honestly, like, it's like you have like bigger females in WWE, but they're quite like, they're not that versatile. But Doudrop, or aka Pipe, I was going to say Viper, but Piper Niven, like literally, she's so versatile. She can throw herself around. She can do literally everything. Like, she could have like a 5-star match with Charlotte Flair. Like, she is such a great addition to the roster, and I love how versatile it is. Again, just adding someone new. I really hope they keep her now on the roster, because she's just amazing. And I think it was like a good way to have her out with Eva Marie. To be fair, it was a good way to introduce her.
Yeah, and it's always a good, like, you know, the whole bullying storylines. They always feel a little bit uncomfortable to watch, but you always know that whoever's being bullied is going to come out of it looking better, and they're going to sort of like defeat the bully essentially. And that's what she's already doing now, isn't it? Because she beat her this week. I love Piper. I've seen her at a few local shows over here in the UK. She's an amazing talent. I was surprised the way that they brought her in, because she was just there. You know what I mean? Like, there was no like hype packages. They didn't. The commentators talked about her like they had no idea who she was, and then they dropped.
That was a bit of a shame.
Yeah,
I feel like. Yeah, I do feel like that was a bit of a shame, to be fair. Like, I wish like they brought her in, like given her actual name that she had on NXT UK, because she had some wicked matches on NXT UK. You know what I mean? And like, you know, she's been known in the UK for the last 8 years or so. She's literally wrestled everywhere in the UK era. Like, I think she deserved more than that name, but she's run with it. Like, literally, she came down at entrance when I was catching up with it last night, and she was just like doing like her Doudrop thing, and like she's doing like all these little things with her hands and everything. I thought, you know what, girl, you're going to sell merchandise. You're going to be like another version of, like, I don't want to say another version of Bailey, but something similar, where you're going to be selling merchandise. You've ran with this gimmick and people are going to just love you. You know what I mean? And she's just wicked and thin. And I love the fact that young girls be watching thinking, you know what, I don't need to be skinny to go WWE. You've got girls of all different shapes and sizes there. You've even got like people in between, like you know, like Natalya is like, I would love her figure. Like, oh my god, she's just insane. I look at her now, I think she's in her late 30s. She looks so bloody good. And I think like you've just got like a bit of something for everyone. You've got smaller girls, you've got girls of different origins. I love it, you know, like it's just so versatile. And girls who look different, girls wear their hair up, wear it down, girls who wear makeup, girls who don't wear makeup, like Shayna Baszler. I love how versatile it is. So that's the one good thing about the women's division now, is it's so versatile. You've got a bit of everything.
Yeah, especially like you said, like Shayna, Nia. I think Shayna's a really good example, because like, obviously not to be horrible to Shayna, but she's not what you would expect to see in WWE. Because she's a fighter, she's a cage fighter, she's a brute, but she's amazing, and I love watching Shayna.
And you know she's going to kick your ass.
exactly. Maybe some men like that. I don't know. Maybe that's why they watch
Yeah.
her. I think she's
You know
brilliant.
what? Yeah, like I always say, what one person thinks is beautiful, another person thinks is ugly, or vice versa. Like we're not all attracted to the same thing. Like some people could look at me now and think, oh, I'm better ugly, and it's the same with all the girls in WWE. They're all versatile, so there will be some men out there who literally fancy the pants off Shayna and would love her to throw them around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another woman. This like leads on to what I want to talk about. Nikki Cross. You know, Nikki Cross isn't your stereotypical, the kind of woman like a, I don't know, like a Trish or someone like that. She's a beautiful woman, a bit smaller. She's got sort of like a less, I don't know, WWE body type that you would expect. She's recently just been made champion. Like, what have you made of Nikki and what they've done over there with Rhea and Charlotte?
Back from injury, I was on like a few female shows, and she was always on the shows, and she'd always be main event on the female shows. And honestly, she was so lovely backstage. She was an amazing person. I remember doing a tan for her one day, a makeup for her another day, because obviously you got me, the girly girl, backstage, just sorting everyone out. But honestly, she's such a good person, and I feel like when we like back in the UK, like about say 7-8 years ago, when she was on top of her game, she actually was like one of the very few girls to have a character and be like this 5-star wrestler. Like me at the time, I wasn't a 5-star wrestler. I'm just like basic. I'm a basic bitch. But like Nikki, she's like a 5-star wrestler, great character, and honestly, like, her heel work was so good. She used to have amazing gear as well. Like she used to have like this denim outfit. She had a black outfit, and she actually did like at one point start chucking the makeup on and everything. And she did actually look like a diva. Like she looked the part. You could see how much like she actually, you know, tried. And like obviously, like when she went to NXT, then she was like Nikki Cross, and she was doing like her sort of like darker gimmick and everything. So it's nice that, like, you know, they've allowed her to explore these different things. And now obviously now she's Nikki A.S.H, Nikki
A.S.H, almost
A.S.H,
superhero.
A.S.H, that's it, Nikki A.S.H. But yeah, honestly, like I think she's never won though. Like she's such a hard worker and she's so talented. Like yeah, she deserves it, and she'll run with any gimmick. Didn't she? I heard that she pitches gimmicks to them, didn't she?
Yes, yeah. I spoke to Killian Dane, obviously her husband, and he said that she'd been pushing for it for like 6 months before they finally let her do it. She came up with the idea, the character, the gear, the story, everything that they were going to do, and they just kept holding off because apparently they didn't like it, and she just kept going and going and going. And then yeah, they let her do it. It took a couple of weeks for it to really like connect with the audience, the fans, but I think they started to get behind her, and then obviously it resulted in winning Money in the Bank, cashing in like a week later. I was fucking thrilled for her. I love Nikki, like you said. Everything she's ever done is amazing. I loved her insanity because she was something different, something that we haven't really seen in the women before.
She played that so good. Like the little growl things that came out of her mouth, you know, she went, ah, and yeah, I can't even do it, but yeah, amazing. Like she's so fast, and she's just like a little little pitbull, isn't she? Like she's boom boom, like she's amazing. Like honestly, she deserves it. I wish she did have a longer title run. I feel like it's like we just keep putting the title on Charlotte, so now she can be the 12-time champion, and then she'll lose it in a few weeks, and she'll be the 13-time. Charlotte's amazing. Charlotte's always been one of my favorites, but I feel like, you know, like Nikki, even when she had the title, they didn't let her have it strong, if that makes sense. Like she was either like having her matches interrupted or losing non-title matches, and like I feel like I would have loved to have seen her have a title defense. And the thing is like when you look at like the old ICW stuff, or you look at Nikki from like the indie stuff, you know what type of match she can have. You know, like, you know, if you just give Nikki that time, that she can literally like just shine. And I feel like that like with the title, if she'd had it longer, she would have had that time to do that at like a pay-per-view and have like a 5-star one-on-one match with Charlotte or someone, or I'd love to see like Nikki versus Sasha or something like that.
Yeah. Nikki versus Bailey, I think would be really good as well. Bianca Belair, anybody, like you said, Nikki can work with anything and she can work with anyone.
Yeah. I would love to see though one day Nikki turn heel like she used to be on the indie scene, because I think literally for WWE people to see that would be amazing, because honestly it's just magic how she used to be, and she's such a great heel.
Yeah, like you said, unfortunately it feels like it was just like a bit of a filler, wasn't it? She was a filler champion to bridge the gap between Charlotte getting her next one. I like Charlotte. I don't like how she's always champion. I think she's the greatest. I think she's the greatest women's wrestler of all time. I really do. I think it's hard to argue that. Like in terms of what she can do in the ring, and as an athlete, she's incredible. There's not much character there, but as a wrestler, fucking hell, she's light years ahead of everybody else. Even though everybody else is great as well.
Yeah, she looks so prestige. Like when she comes out, her gear is always amazing. Like, you know, her what she wears, like the way she carries herself. She's so prestige with it. Like she doesn't really need a character. I think, you know, she's great on the microphone with her promos. She says the right thing. She sort of knows what she's doing. She's literally like your all arounder. I love watching Charlotte. I think she just, she's amazing. I want the 4 horsewomen in a fatal 4-way again, to be fair. Like that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, on a WrestleMania, why not? Main event.
Oh, something. Yeah, all 4 of them get back together sooner rather than later, because obviously it's like one comes back, one goes type of thing. You know what I mean? I want them all four there at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because they wouldn't want to put all 4 of them on the same show, because any other show suffers a little bit, unless you had like Rhea and Bianca there and maybe Raquel Gonzalez. They just need to bring more women up. Stop releasing so many women. They're never going to release any of the horsewomen, obviously. I think my dream would be, I think a lot of people have wanted this for a long time, 4 horsewomen of WWE versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA. So like Ronda, Shayna. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know if Ronda.
We thought it was. Like there's rumours about a year or 2 ago, and then Ronda broke her wrist and then obviously left WWE, and then now isn't she pregnant, or she had a baby?
I think she's just had it.
Yeah, so it's sort of like everyone's moving on and everyone's getting older, aren't they? And that's the thing, like for women it's sort of like you want to think of, just in my life I'll potentially want children, and it's sort of like when you want your children, it's like 6 months carrying the baby, potentially another 9 months off if you're lucky, but then it's like your body might not heal back that quicker, it may never be the same, or even like the stress of having a child and having to look after it, and like, you know, trying to train in between and diet in between. Like Becky looks in bloody wicked shape for just having a baby 9 months ago. Like I wouldn't look, I'd be like a bloody tomato. Like honestly, she tomato or a potato. Becky looks insane.
Tomato. Why did you look like a tomato?
Probably because I'm orange as well. An orange, tomatoes are red. But yeah, like honestly, they look insane. So, but yeah, like my point is, it's hard. Obviously, like we get older, we might be out for like an injury, and then we might come back for a bit, and then you want your baby, and then you might want a second child and stuff like that. So it is harder to get the time in with that. Like it's so much more easier to get the time in with men, because men will go on until they're 40, 50, this and that. It's one thing I love about Natalya. She's almost 40 and she's still smashing it. She looks bloody amazing. Like she looks like she's in her late 20s, early 30s. She looks insane. Her body's insane. She wrestles fucking insane. Like I honestly think Natalya is one of the best females. I think that one of like the reasons why all the females, especially people like, you know, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooks and all that, are like, you know, getting better and so good, is they work with people like Natalya, and God knows what she does for them behind the scenes. You know, like her and TJ got that training school. I think Liv goes there too. Like honestly, like she's fucking insane. I'm so glad she's got a team title, but I really wish it would have been a Raw or SmackDown title because I want her to shine on her own. It's lovely that Tamina's finally got a title as well, because Tamina, like, you know, she deserves it type of thing. She had so many injuries, back and forth. But I feel like now they need to let Natalya shine, especially if, like, you know, Natalya's only got a few more years left. Hopefully she hasn't. I reckon Natalya would go until she's like 50 or 60. Like, but I think Natalya needs to have a title at some point. You know what? Natalya versus Nikki Cross, for a title.
It says everything about how good Natalya is when you consider that they gave Ronda to her, like, to train her and get her ready. Like, Ronda, the biggest thing that's probably ever happened to women's wrestling in WWE anyway, like this huge star from another world, bringing in all these other eyes, and they gave it to Natalya to get her ready. So that says a lot, doesn't it, about
100%,
Natalya?
100%. I think Natalya's helped a lot of girls behind the scenes. I think she's helped the Bellas and people like that as well. Like, I think Natalya's a workhorse. Like, that's one person WWE will never or should never ever release. Like, she's just insane.
Yeah. Well, you never know with WWE. They might release her next week, for all we know. That's
No,
just WWE.
no, definitely. You can't. She's royalty.
Another big moment. Obviously, there's been lots of debuts and lots of returns and stuff recently. Another one was Kaylee Ray. Obviously, an amazing long title run in NXT UK, constantly putting on 5-star matches. NXT UK just does that anyway. It's just incredible, incredible promotion. Not just saying that because we're from the UK. It really is that good.
The girls in NXT UK are insane, but once again, they have so many girls where I feel like a few of the girls from NXT UK need to be brought up into NXT now, because I feel like they signed so many girls in NXT UK where, say, if like on like a show you'll only have like, say, one girls match, the girls are being like rotated, where, like, say, for example, you might have Xia Brookside on one show, but then you might not see her for a few weeks because the show's only like an hour long type of thing, you know, like in the tapings. So I feel like we need to bring a few of them girls up into NXT. Well, I get obviously that Piper Niven, aka Dewdrop, and Kaylee Ray have now obviously been brought up recently. Toni Storm's obviously there now, but I feel like we need to bring up a few more of them NXT UK girls into NXT to obviously make room for the new girls in NXT UK, if that makes sense, because there's so much amazing talent in NXT UK. They just need that time to shine.
I don't know what's going on with Toni Storm. She came up, she had one match, and we've not seen her since. I think that was about 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
And that's what I mean. Like, she's like, honestly, like, Toni Storm's got such a big fan base. Like, she had such a big fan base before she even came to WWE. Like, you know, like, I just don't know what's happening. And like, they make like such a big thing about Toni coming to SmackDown, and it's like, where is she now? Like, she's such a great wrestler, and I feel like it once again just adds more variety. Like, I'd go as far though to put bloody Kaylee Ray on SmackDown or Raw now and see her wrestle Toni or Viper instead of leaving her in NXT. Yeah, she had a great match in NXT, but I think Kaylee Ray needs to be a bit more further and then make room for NXT UK girls or people in developmental to basically come up to NXT. So that makes, like, there's loads of girls in NXT at the moment. I feel like we need a few more on Raw, SmackDown. So I think put Kaylee Ray there. I'd like to see Candice LeRae go to Raw, SmackDown. I think she's ready, you know.
I think she's been ready for many years, but I think she's pregnant now, and I think they wouldn't want to split her and Johnny Gargano up anyway. I think they'd want to keep them together. And
well,
Johnny,
I didn't know she was pregnant.
Yeah. They announced it like 2-ish weeks ago, I think it was.
Okay, fair. Oh my God, well, there you go. See, and that's my point. At one point, we all have kids, this and that. You know, so that's about 18 months out for her now. And whether she does come back or not, because she might decide that she wants to just be, and like, you know, like the emotional attachment as well to your child. You might want to be with them, you might not want to be on the road, you know?
Yeah, and she's a little bit older. I think she's like mid to late 30s, maybe about 35, 46. So it's that time for her to do that now, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Kaylee Ray, have you ever had anything with Kaylee Ray in the past, like you have with Nikki?
So I've been in a Rumble with Kaylee Ray, and obviously we've been saying like women's shows and stuff like that. So yeah, like Kaylee Ray's Kaylee Ray, right? Like literally, she's always put on great matches. Like you see her wrestle a boy, you see her wrestle a girls, she just smash it. Like her and Steph, like Nixon, what's her name in SmackDown? Nixon, Tegan Knox. That's it, Tegan Knox. Literally, they've had wicked matches together. I'd love to see them wrestle each other because they used to tear the house down in the UK. She's never won. This obviously debuted on SmackDown, but not seen her for a few weeks. Tegan Knox.
Yeah, who was with Shotzi, wasn't she? Shotzi Blackheart for a few weeks.
She's insane. Like I've wrestled Tegan so many times. She was my favourite person to German suplex. I used to do a German suplex pin. It was wicked. If you go on YouTube and put Nadia Sapphire versus Nixon, you'll probably find a few matches. Watch me German suplex it. Like she was insane to like do that too. She like didn't land on my head because I do a bridge in German suplex, and you get some girls who wouldn't throw their legs back enough, so they'd land on my face. But she just had that separation. I used to love working her. She was just like amazing. Like at one point when there wasn't that many of us, we were working each other like, you know, all the time. She was at tryouts with me. We were at the same tryouts where she actually got signed. She's amazing. They need to push her more on SmackDown too, because she is just like a great baby face. She just like, her face is just sympathy, you know what I mean? Like she can get sympathy from that crowd. I like, why isn't she wrestling on SmackDown every week, you know? Why haven't we got Tony versus Tegan, or why haven't we got Tony, Tegan and Kaylee Ray all in the ring together? Honestly, if you put them in a triple threat match, add Doudrop in it, it's like a fatal four-way, that match should be insane. People will be watching that match because them girls will fucking kill each other, and people will be watching it thinking, oh my god, they're fucking insane. Like they are. Like I'm probably biased because obviously I'm sort of like, you know, like from the UK now, but honestly, like if you put all four of them in a match, it's just like the crowd would be like, what the fuck? I can't believe they can do all that.
I'm glad you mentioned them all together because I was going to ask about that. Like, what's happened the last few years? Because the UK's taken over, isn't it? Like, you've got, like you said, Doudrop, Nikki, Tegan, Tony, Kaylee Ray. I know all these girls. I know obviously we've got NXT UK, and that's where they're all being bred to come up and be stars. But like for years and years and years, we didn't really see many people from the UK, did we? We had like your Sheamus and your Neville on the men's side, but other than Becky being from Ireland, you didn't really. It was very rare that they broke through to the main roster, and now all of a sudden they're all being pushed all at once. Obviously, it's amazing to see, but like, why do you think they're starting to put so much faith in?
I think there's a lot of wrestling history in the UK. Like even though like the bigger promotions are in the USA, like in the UK, like, you know, you've got things like where you had World of Sport and stuff like that. You've always had like places like All Star and the camps and stuff like that. You've had promotions in the UK like Premier, WAW, that have been going on for, I don't know, 20 years or so. Like you've got all these promotions, and also like the UK style is so different to the American style. Like when you watch like NXT UK now, you'll see a few like, you know, like Johnny Saint bits or something in people's matches, you know, like I think the UK has always been such a great place for wrestling. It's got some of the best wrestlers. You even have wrestlers like a good friend of mine, Giselle Shaw. She came over to the UK to wrestle, you know what I mean? She loves it over here, and that girl could be back in the USA now or Canada killing it, but she chooses to be in the UK. Tony Storm obviously killed it in the UK. There's so many people who choose to come over to the UK, especially like people like from Australia and New Zealand and stuff like that. For whatever reason, I think sometimes like the best wrestling is in the UK, but obviously because the UK don't have that big platform like WWE or AEW and stuff like that, you don't see it, you know, when the UK is small. But yeah, 100%, like a lot of the best wrestlers come from it. I think Regal's got a lot to do with it as well. People who trained Regal, and now Regal's obviously passed on his knowledge. Like, yeah, there's so much bloody talent in the UK. Like, people kill it. They really do. But obviously, we don't have, like, say at like an American show, you might get a bigger crowd because people just love wrestling there. But like, there's not, like in the UK, not everyone loves wrestling. Like in America, you up around, only like a certain person would go and watch a wrestling show. So we don't have the money to put on these massive big shows like you do in America. Like there's so many big promotions, like you even got places like Impact and stuff like that. Like I honestly thought that like World Sport would have been the next one. It'd be good for some sort of promotion to get on TV and have like weekly shows and have all that, because you do definitely, probably being biased, we do definitely have like a less talent from the UK.
Yeah, I remember World of Sport when it came back a few years ago. Grado was the first guest they ever had on the show, and he was telling us all about World of Sport. And he was just saying how badly run it was. Nobody there really like knew wrestling.
Yeah.
A little bit. That's like the problem with WWE now. The writers don't know wrestling. They're from entertainment backgrounds.
Yeah,
they
like a
don't
film writer or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they
like
have no knowledge.
When you look at WWE, like back in like 2000, 2001, 2002, it was sick, wasn't it? Like it was amazing. And now it's just sort of like, like, you know, like it'd be good for something to happen in the UK, like other than NXT UK. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few other, obviously, like ICW and stuff like that, and they're all already on the WWE network, which helps get them out there a little bit more. But it would be nice for something. It just feels like the UK's maybe forgotten about. UK fans are forgotten about as well. We don't even get, but we get Raw and SmackDown over here like what, twice a year, 3 times a year, something like that.
Yeah, isn't it April and November? Yeah,
we're a huge untapped market. But you mentioned Impact and AEW now, and I wanted to ask about them as well, because obviously I've got a little list here. Loads of great women have been released recently, and that's led to all these problems of WWE having to just rotate the same matches and the same tag matches with the same 4 women all the time. Recently, we have lost the likes of the Iconics, as we said a couple of times, Lana, Mercedes Martinez, Ruby Riott, which is fucking insane to me that Ruby Riott was released. We've got Santana Garrett, more and more and more. There's loads more amazingly talented women in there released from either NXT or the main roster. What's the question I want to ask? Like, what's going on with WWE? Why release so many women? It's not like these women are on a lot of money. I know Ruby Riott was on sort of like, I think it was about 60,000 or 70,000 a year. So
really,
fuck all compared.
Oh my god,
they're not on as much as you'd think they're on. Like you've got people like Braun Strowman on $1 million a year, and obviously Roman Reigns on $5 million a year because they bring in the money.
$60,000 a year.
She
was on $60,000 a year.
Yeah, so what would that be for us? Like
I didn't want that. I'd be fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's like 40 grand a year. You can earn that just doing a normal management job, can't you? That shows how little they value some of the women. I think
she'll make more money. She'll make more money on the indies.
Yeah, 100%. I think like Liv Morgan, women like
that. £100 a year.
They're not on much either.
Yeah, like Lana probably would have been on a lot.
Yeah, Lana. The Iconics maybe, because there was 2 of them, so maybe I don't know. They got quite a lot of TV time, but why are WWE releasing so many women and not using them when the women's division is so heavily criticised?
Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like I loved watching Lana, and I loved seeing Lana come from strength to strength. She was training so hard. Once again, you mentioned Natalya. Natalya was helping Lana, and Lana was going down there. Like I'd see videos on Instagram of her going down and training, like with Natalya and TJ and stuff like that. And honestly, Lana is so like she was getting better. You could see the passion in her. I think obviously a lot of it is probably due with like Rusev going to AEW. They are on totally different schedules now, so being married, they might not get to see each other as much. I could see Lana going over to AEW, and Lana was so good on the microphone as well. So good on the microphone.
Like even Marie, like just instantly drew that heat.
Yeah. She was a great babyface.
Yeah, when it was all Rusev Day, the whole Rusev Day storyline was amazing. But WWE fans is they want you to be everything. They want you to be a great wrestler that can put on 5-star matches every week and be the best character that they've ever seen. And if you're not both, like with Eva Marie or like with Lana, you get hated.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
I remember seeing on WWE, like they did, was it like a documentary with Lana and all the tweets she was getting and how unwell it made her. And honestly, that was horrible. Like she didn't deserve that.
No.
And like that's the thing, like if you employ an actress or a model and they don't really know much wrestling and you're going to train them up from the start and then you're putting them on TV within 6 months, of course they're not going to know what to do. Like people like in the UK might not debut for like a year or two, and like the next few years they're still finding their feet on normal shows. Could you imagine like how much like anxiety and pressure it'd be to like after like 6 months of training to debut on SmackDown, have a match? Like you'd probably be forgetting, your head would be going like
2.5 million people watching you all of a
yeah,
sudden.
people don't think of that, do they? Like and like people are so quick to slag off people's wrestling, but I'm just like, I'd like to see you get in the ring and try that and see and see how you perform, under this pressure, see how you perform in front of this many people. Like, you know, if I had to perform in front of that many people, I'd probably have about 10 nervous shits beforehand. I'd probably be so fucking unwell. I'd probably fuck up out there. Like, honestly, I could imagine how much pressure that would be. Like, yeah, they don't give these girls enough credit. And they fucking every week, they're just there trying, knowing that they're going out there to get judged. And they're just fucking like, just trying to get better every week. Like, I got so much respect for Eva Marie for just doing it. She's coming back somewhere where she knows everyone's going to say she's a shit wrestler. She knows, like she's actually going somewhere. It's like going and being on a play where everyone's like, oh, you're a shit actor, you know what I mean? And knowing you're a shit actor, she's going to an actual, like, you know, wrestling promotion for wrestling, knowing she's not the best wrestler. I don't want to say shit wrestler, because I've seen some of her stuff with Brian Kendrick in training, and she fucking smashes it. But obviously we know how it's probably different under pressure, working with different people and stuff like that, you know? And yeah, like, honestly, like, fair play to the girl, like, fair play to Eva Marie. Like, that's fucking inspiration, going out there just ignoring the haters and thinking, fuck it, I'm just gonna go out there, I'm gonna make my money. She's probably there now, chilling in her fucking Range Rover, loving life, eating fucking sushi or caviar, you know, making money.
That's the thing with the training. Like, it's great seeing those training videos, and you see, oh, like, oh my god, look how much she's putting into it. Look how good she can be. But then she's not allowed to be good, is she? That's the problem.
No.
Like, as soon as you get out of the training ring and get behind the curtain, and they tell you what you're going out to do, and it's just like a 2-minute match. You'll take a few moves and a roll-up pin. Like, they're not being allowed to show how good they are sometimes, unless your surname's Flair, or you're part of the Four Horsewomen. You don't get to show how good you are. You're just there to be like a character or like a filler, and it's shit. It's shit. I really feel bad for them.
Like that with the men as well, though. You've had so many great male wrestlers come into WWE who were amazing on the indie scene, and then, like, you know, they're not allowed. But then that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you've got a 3-hour program with Raw, you've got to fit everyone in, and people who you know your money makers, they've got to shine the most. So it's a hard one, isn't it? Like, you know, someone's always gonna, like, there's always gonna be someone who has to have that squash match, or who has to, you know, like, it's the same with like a UK card now. You always have like the main event, and that's got to be like the best match, and then like you have like your opener, and then like you have like, you know, like your main event, like your semi-main event, which is like before the break. Like, you know, like each match has to sort of like stack up for that. You can't have the first match like be like a 5-star match and the second match be a 5-star match, and by the main event the crowd's just fucked, you know?
Yeah, that's what happened at WrestleMania.
You have to have your own space.
With Becky, Charlotte, Ronda in the main event, the triple threat, obviously, like that historical match. Everybody was so amped up and hyped up for Kofi Mania, and that was amazing, and that moment was incredible. And then, like, because it was such a long show, an hour and a half later, you've got the main event of the women, and everybody was just a bit like
tiring. Like, could you imagine going to a show, watching 5 hours of wrestling, having your kids there with you? You'd be knackered. Like, I'm knackered after a few hours of being out in town drinking. So 5 hours of watching wrestling, like Mania or however long it is, and also, like, you know, the getting there, the queuing and all that. Like, I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Anyone would be.
Yeah, I went to SummerSlam 2018 in New York, and that was like, it was still a fairly long show. It was about 3.5 hours by the time you get in, see the dark match, stick around and see if there's anything going to happen after the main event. And I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah, exactly.
Within a couple of hours, I was out of it.
And people travel for Mania as well.
Yeah.
They're probably knackered. They probably just jumped straight off a plane and went straight to Mania, no sleep.
So it's been a great month. Loads of big moments, loads of big matches, loads of returns and debuts and blah 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 blah. What do you want to see from the next month? What do you want to see like for going into September? Any feuds, any returns, anything you would want to book and see at the minute?
Right, so I want to see Drop Shine. So I want them to keep her on Raw. Obviously she's had some great matches already. Like she's like done good stuff. Haven't seen much of Oscar. I want to see Oscar back. We haven't obviously mentioned her. Like I don't know where she's been.
Yeah, I didn't mention her because honestly I've forgotten about her and that's a shame.
Yeah, I forgot about it. The only reason I remembered it now because I mentioned Doudrop and I was like, oh yeah, they were in a tag match with Naomi. Like, where the fuck's Naomi? Naomi's amazing. I want to see more Naomi. Yeah, but to be fair, like I'm more excited for Becky. I'm going to be tuning in SmackDown more than Raw. I'm very bored with Raw at the moment. SmackDown's where I'm going to be watching. Obviously, Charlotte Flair is my favourite. But I don't know, add Sasha to Raw, or I don't know, give Naomi or Oscar more opportunities, then I'll watch it. I'll watch it anyway. But you know what I mean? Like it's like sort of this week, like I watched like 3 episodes of Raw this week. You know, when you sort of put it to the back burner and you're like, oh, there's 3 episodes recorded, I better watch one because like, you know, my box, like my Sky box is gonna be such everything. But I'm so excited for SmackDown. SmackDown on literally like boom. I also heard rumours that like about a year ago or a few months back that Paige could have been making her turn. I don't know how true that is regarding her injury. Yeah. If Paige came back, I'd be so happy because I love watching Paige.
Yeah, there's loads of talk of that at the minute. Yeah, she keeps teasing it. I think she teased it literally a few days ago.
I to be fair, I just want to see it mixed up. I don't want to see the same matches every week. I think every single girl on each roster is so talented. They're so amazing. They all look the part. They all act the part. I just want to see it all mixed up so, like, you know, they can all shine.
Yeah, 100,000%. The last thing I wanted to mention, I'll be completely honest, I didn't watch NWA Empowerrr. The all women's event. I think it happened the weekend just gone about 4 or 5 days ago. I've seen some of the things that happened there, like Awesome Kong, she retired, really emotional moment with Gail Kim. Not sure if you watched the event as well, but how do you feel about the fact that, you know, we're starting to get more all-women shows? I know you've got things like Shimmer and you've got Shine as well and Stardom, but now we're starting to get them on a bit of a bigger scale and on networks that people can see and in the US, and they're starting to get a little bit more of shine on them, a bit more of a spotlight. Like, how do you feel about these all-women shows? Do you think we should see more of them? Can they make money as well?
100%, because like we said earlier, like you'll have different people tuning in for these women's shows. You'll have like aspiring females tuning in, like especially if you had like different personalities, or like girls like Tennille, who's like, you know, she's a social media influencer as well. So when you add them to shows, you also have a new audience coming in. Then you want, like we said earlier, sex does sell. So obviously you got a few beautiful girls, so you get a few perverts in as well. Like,
no, you're right. Spot on. You got to appeal to the pervs.
You'll get the respect, the people who respect women's wrestling, the fans. So you'll get a bit of everyone in. But like, you know, at the end of the day, as long as the perverts just sit there and watch and don't try and do anything, just then it's all good, right? As long as they don't overstep the pervert mark.
Yeah. The thing with social media is as well, like, think about Twitter. Like, here's a good example. The Lana Rusev Lashley wedding. Everybody talked shit about it for months and months and months. Everybody criticised it and took the piss out of it. It got like 8 million YouTube views. At the end of the day, what's the word? Any publicity is good publicity, isn't it? Especially
Perfect. To tune in and watch it and pretend they were marrying Lana.
Yeah, people who want to talk shit about it will tune in so they can then go and talk shit about it on Twitter. But at the end of the day, that's just got the company an extra view, hasn't it? And an extra buy or an extra whatever.
Exactly. I think obviously, like with these all women shows, but like in all seriousness though, you genuinely then you do have like proper fans who want to see women succeed, and they You know what I mean? Like, all jokes aside, all pervert jokes aside, you have the fans who literally want to see the women succeed. They want to support the women, and they go there because they enjoy women's wrestling, not just how they look. You know what I mean? The perverts can watch on YouTube or something, and give you more views. I need to shut up now, don't I? I'm on one. Right, yeah, but I'm going to watch it at some point, so I think we should definitely talk about it on the next podcast and discuss every match. I think if Mickie James was never released, it might have not happened, so maybe it's a blessing that Mickie James was released.
Yeah, good point, because obviously she went over to join her husband, didn't she, Nick Aldis, over in NWA. Like you say, like 20 years in the business, 20 plus years. Imagine what she could have, along with someone like Natalya. Like, when Natalya's done wrestling, I imagine she'll be kept behind the scenes to help keep training these women, and not just in the ring, but like with the business, understanding the
mentally and emotionally as well. Yeah.
Exactly. I think Mickie could have been absolutely perfect for that. It would have been brilliant.
Yeah, she could have. But maybe she'll be perfect for that now. Like, because if you've got Mickie behind the scenes with somewhere like NWA, can you imagine like how like big they can build the women with that?
Yeah.
And also, Mick type of girl where she's been in WWE through the era of Trish Stratus, through the bra and panties era, through the indie era, through all these different eras. She's got experience. She sees what sells, what doesn't sell. You know what I mean? Like, she knows what works.
Yeah, she knows what to avoid. She knows what's good and what doesn't work as well. So she can sort of like avoid all the crap that people don't want to see anymore, basically.
Exactly.
Brilliant. That's definitely a plan then. We'll make sure we get NWA Empowerrr watched. We'll talk about that next time. I think that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. It's been a great month for also women's wrestling. There's so much more to come. Nadia, thank you so much for joining me and agreeing to do this. I've had a blast. I've really enjoyed it. Before you go, where can everybody find you, like on social media? Where can they find your matches and things like that?
So I've got a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Nadia Sapphire. That's NADIASAPPHIRE. You know what? Sometimes I forget how to spell sapphire, so I have to remember it's got two P's.
I'll put it in the about. I'll put it in the about section anyway.
And then Instagram, Nadia Sapphire. Twitter, Nadia_Sapphire. So yeah, come follow me on any of them. Yeah, that's me.
Cool. And guys, you probably know by now where to find me. It's just at It's My House Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. Thank you for being here. Nadia, again, I'm really glad we did this. Thank you so much. It's so nice to talk about women's wrestling for a long period of time rather than just, like just a couple of minutes here and there or on Twitter. It's nice to give the women that spotlight. So hopefully anybody that's watched this will go and seek out those matches, seek out those moments, enjoy what they're seeing, and become an even bigger fan of women's wrestling. That's the hope. That's what I hope for.
Exactly. Let's give these women, I'm going to say let's give these women a platform, but obviously these women already got a bigger platform than us. Yeah. But if a few of you don't watch women's wrestling, hopefully you will, because it's amazing. And honestly, all girls are smashing it.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, for watching the very first episode of this brand new series, Women's Wrestling Wrap Up. As I said at the start, we're going to try and bring this to you at the start of every month, there or thereabouts, depending on what Nadia's schedule is. There we go. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you. Leave a comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe while you're here. And until next time, guys, thank you and take care.
Bye, guys.